Now, if you're training from home, then you probably realize that the kettlebell is probably one of the most versatile equipment that you can use to train your entire body, including your chest muscles. So in this video, I wanted to teach you some of the most effective kettlebell exercises that you can use to help build a stronger and bigger chest. Let's get started. All right, guys, so these exercises are intended to be done with minimal equipment. So I'm gonna assume that we only have access to one kettlebell and we don't also have access with the bench. So a lot of these are gonna be also done on the ground. So the first exercise we're gonna work on is gonna really target the upper chest fibers right here. This is gonna be called the crush grip press, okay? So you're gonna be holding the kettlebell in the palms of your hands, and also notice that the position of my elbows, I'm not flared out to the side, but I'm also not too close to my body like so. So I'm kind of in between with my forearms in this diagonal fashion. Now it's called a crush grip press because your hands are basically pushing into the kettlebell as you press the kettlebell overhead, okay? So I'm gonna be pushing into the kettlebell. You're gonna notice that my arms are going over my head, and I'm trying my best to basically lock out my elbows if I can, and then come back down. With all of these exercises, we're gonna shoot for 10 reps, and you're really just trying to extend those elbows up and overhead. Also notice that I'm trying my best to keep my chin down versus as I go overhead, I don't extend my neck just like that. Try my best to look forward as I'm pressing. Now, keep in mind, some of this might be dictated with how strong you are through your serratus anterior. That's the muscle that you'll see right here up top on the rib cage. That is responsible for elevating and rotating your scapula up. So if you're weak there, this is going to challenge you. It's going to be a hard exercise. So you might want to start a little bit lighter or even perform less repetitions. But if we finish off those 5 reps, you're squeezing the kettlebell. Also notice you want to keep that grip all the way till you get to the top, because if you have a loose grip, it can get very dangerous if this kettlebell is kind of dangling all over the place. So you're extending overhead, keeping that chin down, lowering back down. If you're doing this correctly and you feel a good burn, you're gonna probably feel the most burn if you lower that kettlebell nice and slow, so you can really feel those upper fibers, even the front of the deltoids, working really hard. We'll do 2 more there for you guys. There's 1 and 2. The last piece that I wanted to make sure that you guys focus on is as you're pressing with any motion that we're talking about, we want to really make sure that we're engaged through abdominals. We're not arching at the lower back as we're pressing, and you stay nice and tight as you press that overhead. All right, moving on to the deficit push-up. So this exercise is now going to start to target the inside and the outside of the chest here, and we're going to use a kettlebell to help elevate our hands on a higher platform, which is going to allow us to go a little bit deeper in the push-up, especially on one side. The nice thing about this is if you have good wrist stability, when you're doing a push-up, you should be able to have that neutral grip, and you should be able to allow that elbow to kind of go behind you. If you have wrist issues or you have problems with push-ups in general, we can literally flip that kettlebell on its side, and that provides some support, and now put your wrist less at that wrist extension, which will feel more comfortable for those of you who have wrist pain or anything like that. So if I had wrist pain, I can kind of bring my hands over the kettlebell just like so, and I'm gonna perform 10 push-ups on one side, and then I'm gonna move to the other side, okay? Just like with any push-up, we're allowing those elbows to come behind us, staying nice and close to our body. We're not getting caught in this internal rotation of the shoulder, okay? And most importantly with this movement is you wanna make sure that you finish that elbow extension at the very top. Just because your hand is elevated, we don't wanna cut reps and just work on these partial reps. I really want you to focus on extending the elbow all the way up and then coming back down slowly. So after 10 reps on one side, we can go ahead and move the kettlebell to the other side. And for this side, I'm gonna use the neutral grip with a higher platform, holding on to the kettlebell at the handle. Other hand is gonna be flat against the ground. And we're gonna allow that nice deep stretch at the bottom. And you're gonna be kind of staggered as you perform this exercise, and that'll really help expose any tightness or flexibility issues that you tend to hold on one side more than the other. But most importantly, this is gonna be a great stretch for the chest. It's gonna help you build some good strength on the mid-chest area right there. So the next exercise we're gonna go over is the kettlebell pullover. Now this is going to target the lower chest area as well as the mid-chest, but mainly the lower chest. And this is also gonna be a great core exercise too. So I like to be in this hook line position with my feet supported on the ground to give me more support of my lower body. And I'm actually gonna hold the kettlebell on the bottom so I have good security of the kettlebell. Now the most important part here is as you're bringing the kettlebell overhead, you can have a slight bend in the elbow, but you wanna try your best to keep the lower back in contact with the ground, and you wanna think about your sternum coming closer down to your pelvis, okay? So if we show you good repetitions, we wanna try our best to stay engaged through our abdominals, allow the kettlebell to come back down, and then control all the way up to this top position, slowly lower back down. I'm trying my best to keep my elbows straight. It's okay to have a slight bend in the elbows, but mainly you're gonna feel a lot of the core, the lower chest, really preventing the weight from wanting to pull you back this way. What I don't wanna see is you hyperextending and having space between the ground and your lower back. So make sure you keep that lower back flat, you keep a good hold of that kettlebell, and you allow that kettlebell to come all the way back down. If you have the shoulder mobility, you can take it all the way to the ground. And normally you see the pullover performed on a bench. And the nice thing about the ground, if we do this from the floor, is that even if you have that shoulder mobility issue, you have the floor right behind you. So if you ever need to just kind of drop it behind you, obviously don't fling it, but just drop it with support of your hands, it's gonna be a lot safer for you to perform this. So a lot of benefits to this pullover, not just for the core, not just for the lower chest fibers, but also for shoulder mobility, okay? Now the last exercise we're gonna get into, and it's probably one of my favorites, whether we're using dumbbells or whether we're using kettlebells, is going to be the chest press from the ground. And obviously this is going to be single arm, which is going to really challenge your core stability because the weight is going to be pulling you to one side and you're using your core to resist and keep you nice and symmetrical, okay? So just like in a push-up, you have your elbow kind of in this diagonal pattern. We don't want to get caught with your elbow in this excessive internal rotation, but also I don't want you to keep your elbow close to your body. So you're focusing on really extending that elbow, pushing to the top, feeling your chest and your serratus anterior punching towards the ceiling, and then you're gonna come back down. And also, I kind of keep my wrist in the same diagonal pattern, and you're gonna perform 10 repetitions on one side. As you're pressing, getting a nice good sweat on here. Good, you're gonna feel that nice squeeze at the very top and lower down slowly. And you can tell, unlike a bench, that floor protects that shoulder from getting in any compromised position, okay? Just like that, I think that's about 10 there. And we'll go ahead and switch to the other side. Get your grip there. The important key that I didn't really talk about before is locking in that kettlebell nice and close to the wrist, okay? And I do that by keeping a firm grip. I'm not just excessively letting my elbow bend or letting my wrist go into that extension. I'm keeping a firm grip the entire time, and you can use this hand to kind of stabilize yourself or go on the ground, whatever feels easier for you. And you're really gonna feel nice, good contraction on the inside there. This is 5, 6, good, 7, 8, 9, one more, and 10. So those are some of the most effective exercises that I like to use with kettlebells to help build a stronger chest. Now, if you're interested on building stronger arms or building a stronger back using kettlebells, then check out these 2 videos I made up here. In the meantime, if you found value in this video, please like and subscribe to the channel. And if there's a topic that you'd like for me to cover, please list them in the comment box below. I'll see you in the next one.